Thank you, Greg. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. It's wonderful to be here, isn't it? Especially when we do something. Just before we start, voor ons begin, wil ek net graag 'n gebed doen. We just close our eyes for a few seconds, please. We pray to the Creator of earth and all everything that's on this beautiful earth and everything that's life and everything that's He gives to us in His hand. We thank Him for that. Lord, please let not me speaking, but that You speak through me, and I'm just a vessel to give this message. Amen. You know what is the best? I always start at the beginning. Now if you look at God the Creator, when He created everything, it's wonderful. If you look at the sky, especially when you look at night, you just look up. I like to sit sometimes outside and look at the stars, and you look at everything, and you look at the universe. Everything He created. Then I start looking back in the beginning, in Genesis, the first in Genesis. In 6 days, He created everything. And the 6th day, He created the most wonderful thing ever created. He took His own hand and He sculptured me and you that sits here. His breath through His nose, and He became a living being. Now sometimes I wonder if you really know what our values is. In God's hands, we are His creations. In God's hand is ons absoluut sy totale skeppingsplaat. En toe ons lewend geword het, when we got alive, He gave us something special with fellowship, a friend, a partner, a woman. He created her as well. To do what? To carry on in His creation. Isn't it like that? Om aan te gaan in sy skeppingsplaat. Hoe wonderlik is dit nie? How great is it? And that is the proper gift of life. That is gift of life that we get. And that is what the Lord gave us, especially, so that we can understand what everything is about. But today I want to take you on a journey on 2 places, 2 towns. Kimberley, and the other one is Bloemfontein. I want to take you to a journey where a young woman in Kimberley was busy preparing to get ready for a new start in her life on university. She's going to start a nursing degree and to go to the university in Bloemfontein, the National Hospital in Bloemfontein, to go and learn how to care for people. Just think about, if you're a young person, I don't know how many young people, I think every one of us was young at a certain time of the day, and if how it was the greatest thing to be inspired to go to start something new, a new university, to learn everything. And this young woman couldn't wait. When she got there in Bloemfontein, they go to the university, hulle gaan daar na die universiteit, kom daarby, gaan na die afdelings waar hulle bly, where they stay, the hostels and everything, and meeting everyone, running there, all happy, and everyone, there's a new adventure coming on, a new adventure starting in their life. What a beautiful adventure. The next morning early, they had the booking in all the different areas in the hospital, different departments. And the one department came in that she had to start with was there where old people and people are busy. Now, it's difficult. You have to run, you have to care. There she saw a lot of things happening. Heartbroken, people that got hurt, trying to bring them a smile. It's not just the medical side of it, but it's also a side that you have to care for people. And after a while, they departed to another part of the hospital where the young children are. There where the young children are, the young kids with cancer, babies, young babies that's ill. And it took a lot on her heart, and she's working with these young kids and everything, and werk met die jong kinders wat daar in die hospitaal is. En is besig daar met hulle om te kan sien waar kinders hartseer en seer het. En saam met dit alles, she enjoyed it. She enjoyed it. And after a year or so, she was busy studying and going on. You know what happened with this young woman? She fell in love. Can you believe it? Who of you guys have ever fallen in love? Don't put all the hands up. Try it. Come on. Who did fall in love? Every one of us had some time in our life fall in love. The danger is falling out of love. And she fell in love, and she met this young doctor that's also studying, and we're working there. Part of the study group that we were working in. They were really in love. And you know what happens when you're in love? You can't feel. Everything goes to account. You can't feel. One day you're crying, one day you're happy. Everything is going well. And they really go out in this relationship. And you know what? Sometimes when you're in love, you can't say no. You can't say no. This young woman had the same problem. She falls so far in love, something happened with her. She falls pregnant. Can you believe it? Love that's supposed to be joyful becomes suddenly a hurtful choice. But the heartbreaking part of this story is the guy that she was falling in love and cared for him so much was married. He was married. And she had a big thing falling on her shoulders. She didn't know what to do and how to handle it. Guys, I want to tell you something. I want to speak especially with the men. You know, sometimes we're reckless. Men are reckless. They let this young woman fall in love with him. And when problems comes in, they run away. They disappear. Or they don't stand a chance to stand by this woman that they say they love. So what do you know about love? What is love really and what is it about? And deep inside of her, when she was standing and praying and talking to the Lord, she felt everything is left. Because at the same time, she couldn't speak to her parents. Because she had a high position in Kimberley. So it's difficult to tell them. You know, that time, in that years, 1963, it wasn't like today, everything just runs over, it just happens. It was difficult. I'm sure about the older people that sit here with us, not that we're old, we're still young. But the thing is, you can remember, that's half ashamed to go to your parents and tell them, I'm pregnant. And this guy doesn't want to support me, he just moved out. So men, don't do that. You just as harmful as anyone else. And you know what this young woman decided to do? After she saw the bitter, heartbreaking situations in the hospital with the young kids, she's decided to take and do an abortion. But you know what? The Lord had a plan. The Lord had a plan. She put her hand on her own body and tried to abort the baby. And you know what happened? The heartbreaking story. The baby didn't die. Now, abortion, if you really know what it's about, people, you don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. Because the Lord said, I knew you from the beginning, before you was born. Before you was, I know you from your creation, from the first moment, I knew you. So that's much bigger than we ever thought. And that baby was born with defective limbs and everything. And they thought, we will never, because the brain, there was no reaction on his brain. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. The doctors and everyone, the diagnosis was that he won't even live for a few days or a few months, he will die. But the Lord had a plan. That young baby didn't die. He didn't die. He just refused to die. He looked dead. No response. No brain movement. Nothing. Just laying in his little trip. The nurses picking him up, carrying him around, trying to do the best they can to help him. With his legs and everything deformed. But nothing happened. No life. Nothing came out of it. And the interesting stuff, there was a situation where a young woman in Welkom, waar she wasn't so young at that stage. Her elder kid was out of the house. She heard from her sister about this young baby that was there in Bloemfontein. Basically, a dying baby. Her sister had a young daughter that was disability that she looked after and cared for the kid. And she told the woman, Weideman, listen, there is a baby there. You must go and look at it. She hopped in a little follow right up there. Gaan dadelijk so toe, naar die hospitaal toe. She gets there, she asks about the baby. No one wants to really tell her what's going on. She asked for the superintendent came to her. She asked him, I want to see this little baby I heard about. And he says, my dear woman, that baby is not really a baby. It's just something laying there, basically dead, but his heart is still going. And she said, I want to see it. I want to see it. She went to it after a struggle with him, and he gave up and he said, please woman, just come. We're going to show you. And he took her to the crypt where the little baby was laying. And the moment she picked up that little baby, she picked him up. What do you think happened? What do you think? Suddenly there's something moving. There's something, or it was, at that stage the doctor thought it was just muscle movements or something, like a muscle spasm or something. And he's moving. And she asked her, I want to take this baby, I want to look after him. He said, my woman, it's impossible. Because we, the state, are caring for this baby. By law, we have to look after him. We have to see till he dies. She said, but I want to. What can I do? What can I do? The only way to do it was to get permission from the government. And to take it in care for the baby. So she took it. And that little baby that was sitting there, suddenly she took it home, take care for it. Something else happened. His eyes opened. There were lights in it. Just because mother love came in. The mother that supported it, a strange mother that gave her love, changed everything. Changed everything. Immediately. Immediately. We start moving. He was going like a little snake, creep op sy knie rond, because he couldn't really pull their legs, that it was deformed with him. The eyes was going. At that stage, they didn't expect it. The doctors, they go back, they said, couldn't believe suddenly there's life, there's making noises. Something is happening. The brain is going on, there's like a pop that's going on. And the good part about it is, she decided she wanted to go further on it and take more care of it. And that's the mother that took him in his arms and gave him the mother love that he needed. You see, love, that's what God gave us as love, the gift of love. The love, when He made us, He gave us that strength to live. And we all got a right to live. Don't you think so? Everyone got a right to live. Sometimes things become wrong or happen wrong or by anything that's wrong. But at the end of the day, life is still in God's hands. And she asked them to care more for him and take him in foster care so that you can look after him. In the foster care, she could take him more home, not just the weekends. She had him full time. They gave her the permission, and then the big thing comes. She applied for adoption. She applied for adoption. First, they said there's something that must be happening. Let's try and get this kid in a position that he can walk. They had to do some operations. The one leg, the right leg was amputated. The left one was broken and broken and bent and broken and bent. That's in such a position that it had a little space with the foot, a little small piece of foot, the 3 toes, really a baby foot, so that it can start walking. And then the first artificial leg was made for him to start walking. And you won't believe it, he started walking. He started talking, he started running. Everything happened. And then the adoption could have happened. And that is the greatest of all. Before, Martinus Albert vernoem, die Weideman, wie wat ek voor hier staan. God se plan in ons lewe. God se plan in ons lewe. Want hy het 'n beter plan gehad wat ons nie verstaan. En jy weet die wonderlike deel daarvan, daar waar julle my sien, and you see me on the table, standing, my mom used to hold me, and then she tells me this story. what will happen if a strange woman will come and fetch me? Because I never met my biological mother. The biological father, I can't even get his name. He disappeared so far off records that you can't even find it. Doesn't matter where you try. You can't. The father of the biological mother came and visited me once, and that's where the names come from, Martinez Albertonieu. He came once in the hospital and visited. That's the only visitor I ever had in that hospital that I know of, except the personnel and everything that worked. And she always told me, what will I do? Because at that stage, when the adoption went through, they weren't contacted. I didn't know. Much years afterwards, I heard about it. She contacted a red-haired woman, asking if she'd be able to see me. But at that stage, my mom had the adoption totally, and she had a choice to say yes or no. So I never met her. But the great thing is the same with my father. My father was very difficult. Because at that stage, all the other kids was out. There's just a young daughter in the house of 17. And suddenly here comes someone with disformed legs, with a disability. You know, to look after disability people are not very easy. Not just the heart, but there's a lot of extra things you have to do. And he was a little bit against it because he was thinking, if something should happen, because they didn't know if their lifespan will go on, will they live, will they get older, will they die, what's going to happen, what will happen to me. So he sort of stand, and the other kids that was already growing out of the house tried to tell her, don't do this, don't do this. But because she was a woman of God, and she had a love, ungrateful love, ever in her heart, to keep on going. And you know what? I grew up, started running out. I've seen one thing about it, she told me to do anything on my own. Nothing. Even if it's a bath, little things that may be easy for anyone else, I had to learn to do. Bath, brush teeth, do, get my artificial legs on and off, how to dress myself. Don't you think he's looking nice? You must look at me now, eh? But anyways, she had to do all those things and teach me, and doing me things. And there I hunt. I was a great hunter. I hunted elephant, but I'm just lying. All I do here is here you can see the age when I have to go to school, because that came up. That really came up. I had to go to school. Where? Everyone told her, go, put him in a disability school. My mom said, no ways. You will go to a normal school. Not that a disability school is unnormal. It's just a school for kids that can run and play. My mom said, no. There was a school in front. Bedelia, they call it in Welkom, right across the road, right from my house, across over. I was lucky. The first day we got to the school, so we went to see the headmaster there. When he had the clap, said, met hom gaan praat, he went and talked to him. You know what he did? Many people will think maybe it's bad, but he went, he took a chair, put it right in front. He called me up, he called everyone inside, even the people who work in the gardens. He brought everyone inside. Let them be there, sitting everyone. No one was outside. You could hear a pin fall. No one even half breathed. And he put me there, and I took my artificial leg off, took my shoes off, so that everyone can see. He said, listen, now they called me Darby. That was my nickname, Darby. My name is David, or Dave, but they called me Darby. And I stuck with Darby for a long time, I'll be honest with you. And they showed it there. When I went to that school, he said to them, listen, here's Darby, your new friend in the school. Any questions? Any questions? No one answered. Then he said, now you have seen him, you have seen his legs, you have seen his feet, he's part of your friends. Don't ask anything else, let him enjoy his life. And that's how I started my school. Yes, and I can tell you about that school, that was great. We were playing, I was dancing, we were playing there, all the kids were playing, I was running and going crazy, and there was another little guy. You know, kids can be very, very, very bad. Are you too fat? Oh, you got a pimple on your nose. Oh, ugly. And then one guy came to me. Hey, cripple! Yesterday. When he called me cripple, you know what I did? I knocked him. Knocked that teeth out. The teacher was screaming there, come on, Darby! I felt bad afterwards, but at that stage it was just reaction. We became very good friends. But that was happening. I was playing, we was running around all over the thing. And luckily, we were playing, and what's nice about that school is we were like at home, I'm climbing trees and everything. What's nice about that tree, you seeing me hanging up and down, we used to have to watch movies. Friday was movie night. And that time we had Zorro. Have you ever seen Zorro with the big horse? Okay. And I get a feeling. I couldn't believe anything. If I stand in front of the mirror, I could be John Wayne, Tarzan, whatever I want to be, I could play in front of that mirror. And that day, I liked the Zorro thing, so I was playing Zorro. But I believed it so much that I went to the teacher, and she asked me, and I told her I got a nice horse. Because I was crazy about horses. I was very fond of animals. I was crazy about a horse. And I told her I got a horse, and I'm riding this horse, and I'm doing all the things, but I've seen Zorro riding his horse, so I got everything in my mind. It was really going into my mind and believing that. And one day my mother comes there, and walking up, and she comes, and the teacher said, "Hey, Mr. Weideman, just come here quickly. I want to ask you something." He said, "Yeah, what?" He said, "Listen, I'm so glad. I never know that Garvey had a horse and he's riding horses." My mom just stayed quiet for a moment because she was very strict. No lying, no stories. She said, "Hey, Garvey had nog nooit 'n perd gehad. He never had a horse in his life." Oh, but he tells us everything about the horse. The mane, the tail, everything. Yesterday, when I got home, you can imagine what happened. I got a speech from here to there. You're not supposed to do it, and that happened. But it was wonderful. God was good to me. Because everything was in His hands, His plan. I was riding bicycle, and many times we had, the sports we had, what they call the sets that put and running and all over the show. We were running all over the place. And I was also, I'm taking part, playing rugby. Look, they ran out of me, they pushed me. They couldn't double that because with this leg of mine, it was too hard, so they pushed me. Then what's lacquer? They pushed me right over there, and I could put a ball down. You see, so it helped, but I never really played professional or anything. I just played in school rugby. The same way with the running. Everyone is running, then I was running. At the end of the day, everyone is already home, and I'm still coming. And I stop. When I go there, "Dave, there's a chocolate. You're good." And one day I said, "No, this is not fair." Now I got one secret that no one knew. Because out of my leg, I could hop on my one leg very fast. And I could take it for a long time. I wasn't so round like now, I was light in weight. So I was going and I could hop quite a lot. And one day I went to the headmaster and I said, "Listen, every time," and I was almost a standard 4, I said, "Every time we do this thing, every time I'm getting a chocolate, but I want to do it now differently. I want to dare anyone here to come and see how much they can hop around the rugby field on the outside, on one leg." Now I knew, because I practiced quite a lot, I couldn't do it 5 times. No one could do it. So I could give the chocolate. You see, so the Lord is great. He gives you chances to do things that you never expect that you ever will be able to do. And then the thing came up. Then they said to me, maybe, I was in standard 4, they said to me, maybe if I go to a disability school, that will help me a little bit. Because I was also a little bit dyslexic, so I had to do a lot of, talking and helping and people doing it to get my, to talk, now I can talk, you see. So they helped me to get my things right. And I thought, now if I go to a disability school, that might just be the right thing for me. But you know what? I got to Kimberley, Listen Conradi, I don't know if you guys know about it. Fantastic school, great school. When I go there, everyone was in wheelchairs. And I thought, everyone's wheelchair. I'm walking and they were in wheelchairs. Now, I thought later on I took my leg off and I was in a wheelchair. We have to look the same. We have to be the same. So we do it. So we all have to be the same, that we can be better off. And there was, at that stage, we had the young teachers coming in. We were naughty, I tell you. We were left naughty. So they were coming to where we staying in Korsesa, where we stayed inside. And at night, and what we do, then what I did, we climb under the beds, we hide in the cupboards, we take the artificial arms, we put it sometimes, some places. That day they put my leg under the bed, see? And we climb into the cupboards. And then we kill this young teacher that's learning, say, "Help me out, Tommy is already paid, they don't want to fall." And she comes in, she's got such a fright, and then she grabs my leg and put it here, here comes the leg. So at one stage they moaned as they say, "Listen, poor kids, we had to go to another place." But in any case, we had a lot of fun. The Lord gave me a lot of talent with sport. I wasn't long there, we did archery and everything. my mom. Now, I had a little child staying there. And every time, every weekend, she comes with a little fallout because she didn't take me home every time. Weekends, she stayed over. Then, really went along and I walk away. I run at night, go, because I think she will be there. Then she's not there. Then I said to her, please, I want to go back. Because I can't stand it to ride in a wheelchair. I want to do other things. And then they took me back. And we went back to Gauteng, to the school. But after that, after going through primary school, what happened? Last school, I had to go into head school. I had to go to the worst school. But now, what am I going to do? Where am I going to do? The same story happened. It's not possible. No one wants to take you with a disability and everything. And there was a school, technical college, school that learns people technical crafts like handwork and everything. And the headmaster said, right, it's difficult because we work with machines and everything. That might be a possibility. I already got a few fingers missing. He doesn't want the rest to go away. But he'll take a chance and give me a chance to work. And I started there at that school. And one day, we were sitting there, and there's one guy that you see in the photo there, was walking, and he had a lot of friends standing there, and they were talking, and they were farmer guys, because a lot of farming guys are coming there, and he's talking to his friends, and he said, he's looking for someone to come to him at they got what they call a question center, where you keep horses, and he wants someone to come and ride with him horses. What happened? Remember the horse story? I heard in my ears the story and I thought, yo, that I want to know because I still believe I can ride a horse. I want to ride a horse. So the first thing I do, I walk up to him and I said, listen, his name was Marius. I said, Marius, I can ride a horse. He said, really? I said, yeah, I can. The moment I said that, I believe, now I'm taking it far because I have never rode a horse except that tree that I put the little, because I got a stirrup and I got a hard hat, I put it on that tree, then I split a tree with a rope and my covers. That was my horse. That's why I was trying to ride horses on that tree that you see. That was my horse, my little horse. And he said to me, fine, he'll take me with. Now is the big story. I had to go to my mom and I must tell her suddenly, I want to go and visit friends because I never slept her. Never ever. When I go to her, I want to tell her, I said, listen, I want to go and visit this friend, I want to go stay over. She said, oh, that's not possible. I said, please. My dad said, let him go, man, give him a chance. That's the nice side of a dad, he likes to push you a little bit in. And I said, that will take me. I said, no, I'll meet this guy someplace, I'll take my bicycle. And what I do, I take my bicycle, my leg is standing out here, and I just go with my bicycle. So I'm going with my bicycle. So I went to the stables, I got to the stables, reservoirs, and I had 2 horses. The one horse was 17, 18 hand, Pocky, a racing horse, ex-racing horse. The other one was Trinity, a crossbreed, an Arab, and a Tammy, a foal. And he said, but you can ride a horse. Yeah, I don't back down. That's one thing I don't do. He doesn't challenge me, I don't back down. He said to me, I already saddled the horse. Which one do you think he saddled? The big buck. And I look at this horse, I have to look up like that because he's twice my size and this horse is 3 times my size. So I had to climb. I thought, oh, what can I do? I just said, Lord, I'm in your hands. I know it's not a true story, but I have all those thoughts go through my head. How Zorro ride his horse, how I ride my horse. And he tried to put the stirrup was so, he had to pull it so far up, because my leg is so short that it doesn't even come past the flap of the saddle. He put me up on the horse. This big horse is far down. I can believe you, far down, sit on the horse, then the horse went forward, backwards, then we trapped a little bit, then we go forward, backwards, and I got my sit. Then I said, because now I hold the hands like that, I put the rope up the trip down my arm like that, and my hand, go, and then the horse going in a little trot, and I was still sitting, I was going, and I was sitting, and I was still on the horse, we were going forward, yes, and I start riding, believe it or not, I start riding. Can you ever believe it? I start riding. Then I get really cheeky. There were some jumps, trotting poles and jump. And I went to that trotting poles and jump and showed the horse's nose into the area and he went in. First jump, I fall off. I bought some ground. I fall, I tell you, just dust. But you see, the Lord had a plan. He already was busy planning my life there. And then, afterwards, I said to him, I want a horse. And I bought that horse, Trinity, the 15 had crossbreed. Arab I bought from him. And I started riding. And you know what? The Lord opened doors for me. And it was excellent. At one stage I had 8 racing horses training. I was one of 3 guys in the world at the equestrian center. Jumping, show jumping. Gymkhana is everything. Not that I'm good, but the Lord is good. The Lord had a plan. But it wasn't just for horses. I had challenges. And I have a lot of riding championships, SA championships, right to the best in South Africa. And gave me a big challenge. With Davis Choi, it was the last one I had. Jumping all over there, I was riding for Free State and everything like that. The greatest thing about it all, there was a plan in the story. The German, because now I was finishing my matric and I was completing, and suddenly I had to go and look for a job. And what will I do? The German, he was a director of a company, RC Power. I was in technical school, so I had technical background. And I wanted to see, my dad said to me, there's no way in life that you can become a boiler maker or electric steel worker or anything. It's impossible. Because I wanted to be a doctor, that was my dream. But when I was very small, I went to visit the doctors because they really looked after me, checked me out because I was still under the government protection, looking after me. Doesn't matter if I was a doctor or not, to see if everything is right. And then one day when I walked in, I was about 8 years old, when I walked in his office, he asked me, Darby, what do you want to do? I said, I want to be a doctor. He said, with that, impossible. Now one thing I want to tell you people, especially young people, never let no one break your vision. Because then you're going to lose where you're going. And when he told me, I can't operate anything with this hand, I put it in my pocket. And I totally pulled away. And I forgot about my dream. And I never followed my dream. And that was the bad part about it. The good part about my niece, when they told me, she see I was walking in the park, I have problems as well. Especially when you go out with girls. When I go to the mother, the first thing she asks me, what happened to you? What did your mom do? Did you use the pill? What's wrong? If you get married, are your kids going to look like that? I said, I'm going to take it back on into a movie. I don't want to marry her yet. All those things happen. Because the first thing they see is what they see. They don't see the person in the person. And it happens like that. So that's all the things that bring me back. But luckily my mom made me in such a way that my water was running off me when I talked about that. But that day, one day I was sitting there and the girl was taking my hand. And the moment she took my hand, she got a fright. And it sort of put me back again more. And that means the man said, get up man, get away, get alive. Start going on, there's nothing wrong with you. And I carried on. But to come back to the real story. When I went with this guy, with the engineering company, he said to me, alright, we're prepared to take you to that company. We will let you to do steel construction work, you can train, you can qualify, but first of all you have to get through a test. Again, I started this way. Went to the workshop, we called his foreman, and everyone in said, listen, that is Darby or David. He's going to start an apprenticeship. We're first going to test and see if he can do it. No one is allowed to help him move steel, nothing. Nothing. If he wants to do it, he must do it himself. And the Lord had a plan. I started in a month, 2 months, 3 months. I was working like a gentleman. 3 months, I was doing drawings and everything. Great. The Lord was fantastic. So I started and I did my apprenticeship and I got qualified and everything. You know, when you get qualified, you get right, you get money, you get a car. I was riding all over the world with my horses and carrying all over. Right, what happened to me? I met a girl. And I fall in love. Can you believe it? I fall in love. Seriously, I fall in love. But always I gotta hurry up nature. If you say no to me, I do it. If you say can't, I run for it. And I did the wrong thing. I made the wrong choice. I made the wrong choice. And she fell pregnant. She fell pregnant. You see, but at that stage, I haven't noticed, I didn't learn what the Lord had told us yet. I didn't learn what he said, because the first thing that came into my mind when she got pregnant, what's going to happen? That baby is going to have a disability because I am visible. But I'm not. Don't you think so? I'm not. There's no disability. But that was in my mind. Because I sinned in front of the Lord. I did something I said I'll never do, happened. But you see, that's what love does. It makes you blind. Please, people, don't be blind
put up glasses. So that is what happened. Now, at that stage, I didn't know. I fall on my knees and I prayed. I said, Lord, please, please, don't let anything happen to that baby. That's not that baby's fault. You know what happened? Check. My first daughter was born. 10 fingers, 10 toes. She was shocked. That's great. The Lord's plan was beautiful. And that's what happened. But then we carried on. There's my baby daughter with my mom. The Lord was so great. He gave me another 3. Excellent. Do you think I'm short? No, I'm not short. The Lord was good to me. He gave me 3 kids. But at the same time, when I decided, we came to a point, when I engineering, I went up to where I was working underground, Gauteng was underground places, underground, climbing up, going up, building things, doing things, because I developed all machinery that I did in that. I do it, and they called me, and the management called me and said, Dave, we cannot let you climb all over underground, you're going to get hurt. I said, but I never got hurt. Never ever got hurt. Why was I? They say you cannot do. The mine union decided you're not supposed to do that. Then people see your disability because you have a disability. I say again, I'm not disability. Give me a piece of paper, I'll sign my name that you have no responsibility. Say they cannot do it. So in that case, choose them. I don't touch them. And at the same time, my dad died, and I decided that's the end of the story. I'm not going to do it. And I started with Old Mutual. And with Old Mutual, I started with insurance. Not long ago, then I started studying, and I did a lot of courses and things in with Mutual and things like that. The Lord was great again. He put me in places where I was supposed. And then later on I started my own brokerage. I went to study at B-Proc and I got my own company. But what happened? What happened? One day I prayed to the Lord and said, Lord, what do you want me to do? I've got this company, I do legal things, I do against all that type of things, rape, murders, all those type of things. What can I do more? You wake up one morning, 3 o'clock and say, gift of life. That's what I want you to do. You come and talk to people like every one of you to understand the greatness and the love. So it doesn't matter what. It's like I had a testimony of this other young guy. The woman was raped, and he's standing as a pastor in front of you. That DVD you gave me. It's brilliant. So how do we know where we must be end alive, or we must give him the chance that the Lord can do more for him? And I start going and I start doing my own businesses, my own companies. But you know, when money goes and everything goes, I was working 24 hours. I wouldn't even need to see my family most of the time. The question was, is God in there? Is God still in control? I lose control because you know what I started doing? Hunting money, hunting fortune, hunting riches. I was going for this. But in the meantime, everything was falling apart. Yeah, everything was falling apart. And not just because of mistakes, but I think the Lord had to show me a way to go. He guides us. So many times, in the beginning you saw, I tell you, but sometimes when things go bad with you, you know, we always give the devil a story. Hey, the devil, look what the devil does. You don't give him honor. God sometimes let things happen our way so that we can learn His way. And He took me in His way and He learned me so that I can fall on my knees and I can start from the beginning. Jy staan en daar moet jy altyd geloof hê in die skuld. In other words, you have to share the shield of believing, the shield of power of God in your hand. And this is one of my biggest texts that I always believe in, and I stand on it with my life. En dit is Matteus 19 vers 29. En elkeen wat 'n huis of broer of suster of vader of moeder of vrou, kind of grond ter wille van my naam verlaat, sal soveel meer ontvang. So everyone that you leave, first of all, God in your life. Bring Him first in your life. First in your life. But everything falls apart. I started a company, Weideman and you know what happened? I got divorced. And I was 5 years alone, flat on my knees. And I started the company from back up. And at that stage, I didn't want to know anything. And a young woman came into my office. I said, I will never get married again in my life. There's not a chance. Again, what I'm saying is not what God plans. I'll never get married again. The young woman came into my office to ask to assist her with help. The night when we were talking and we started talking a case that we have to handle for her in the court. And we were busy working with it, and I said, no, fine, but I had to stop because we didn't even talk about the case anymore. We were talking about God's greatness.
And His plan for each and every one we got to. He was making a plan when He started. And that night when I got back home, I told my mom about this young woman. You know what she said? The girl got wise. She said, that's going to be your wife. I said, impossible. I'll never marry again. And she became my wife. And I adopted the young son as well. You know, the Lord got a plan that's 100% wonderful. That's why I'm saying, to have a woman, that's why I'm saying, men, think before you do. Don't just do for your own selfishness. Respect women and respect yourself. Because respect comes from yourself inside. Then emotions will never have to happen. Don't you agree? Then life will start in a solid foundation in God's arms. That's where you have to start. So love is the most wonderful thing and gift that God gave us as young people, ever. But don't waste it. That's why I'm saying, if women are proud, are a diamond in God's hands. That's what the great was. And then we decided total oorgawe. And that's what we said there. Want as ons lewe, ons tot eer van die Here, en as ons sterwe ons dit. You know, when we live fully to God, we'll even die in God's hands. What I mean by dying, we'll die with a smile. Because He knows we are Him. When He comes, one day, we will receive Him. That's the greatness that the Lord gave us. And we started our new life together, every one of us. But at the same time, we got married, everything. And what happened? We got a little child was born. And he lived for a few minutes and he died. That was heartbroken. But to take the short, the Lord was great. He gave us another kid after 2 years, exactly like a twin. So the Lord was great. He gave us everything. And that's why I can stand in front of you today and talk to you about the gift of life. Life is precious. And I hope and pray that everyone that stands here will support to stop abortions, because that is much bigger than we ever can think. To stop this type of thing so that we can everything forward. The Lord gave me a long story. I'll tell you now. You can get, that's the biggest text of all. Ek is tot alles in staat. I'm to everything with the God taking my hand. The biggest thing, one day, I want to put my biological mother. I already forgive her a long time ago. I never met her. I forgive her. Put her at Jesus' feet. So that one day she'll be. Because maybe she did the wrong thing, but the Lord had a plan to do out of something harmful, something great. Amen.